Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's first video. So, quite a big update for today's first video, doing the 7th Summer 2020 update, and we're looking at April data this week. And I think a lot of people are going to be quite interested to see this, because I've had a fair few people asking me what summers tend to be like after a warm April. We've had a very warm April. We're going to look at summers following the warmest Aprils on record for the CET. And we're going to see what those summers are like when they follow very warm April. So I think this is going to be quite anticipated, this one. It's going to be quite a highly anticipated summer update. I'll get on with that for you very shortly. Just to say that coming up later on today, we're going to have GWV Sunday Roundup. That's going to be your Sunday afternoon eclectic mix of this and that. And then we're going to have a live stream between 5 and 6 o'clock. We're going to check in, see how we're all doing while we're in lockdown during the coronavirus crisis. And that will be coming up at YouTube. Yes, it'll be coming up at YouTube, but also I'm going to embed it into the homepage at GWV.com, so you'll be able to have a listen there. I'm going to share it on all of our social media accounts as well, Facebook and Twitter, so you'll be able to listen to the live stream very, very easily. Starting at 5 o'clock. But if you want to get involved in the chat, then you will need to go through to YouTube. So, because I'm doing it solo, I haven't got time to go round all the social media accounts and see what people are saying. So if there's something that, particularly if there's something that you want answered, if there's a question you want answered, then you will need to go to the YouTube channel. So sort of just click through the video, really, and go to the YouTube channel, and then you'll be able to get involved in the live chat and have your question answered. That's going to be coming up from 5 o'clock. Just say this is going to be quite a long video, so if you can't watch it all in one go, then don't worry. It will be kept at GWV.com indefinitely, and I'll get up on the summer updates page tonight, and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. So you'll be able to have a read of that and watch the video on demand whenever you would like to do that. So getting quite far on now into the summer updates. We're going to be releasing the GWV Summer forecast on the 31st of May. We're into May now, so things are sort of nearing the business end for these updates. There's not going to be all that many more summer updates to go, but I hope you found them interesting and informative. Big thank you to Richard Shaw for supplying us with our summer updates gift, and at the end of the video have a little bit of reanalysis being suggested by Rich as well. Big thank you to Terry Scully as well for helping with this one, and as always, big thank you to Analyze Guru James Atwill. James's condition is progressing well after his operation. He will be back with us very shortly. Right then, so let's move on with the video then. And as I said, we're looking at April data, April CET data for this one. We'll do precipitation data for April next week. So the April 2020 CET came in at 10.4. Very warm April, an anomaly of 2.5 degrees above the 61 to 1990 average. It's one of the warmest Aprils on record. It's not the warmest April on record. We'll get to that as we move through the reanalysis, the warmest on record, but he's certainly up there with, like, the warmest on record. And so, as I said a couple of minutes ago, what we're going to look at for this one is going to be summers following the warmest Aprils on record, and that gives a CET range around 9.5 to at the lowest to 11.8 at the warmest. The warmest April on record is has a CET of 11.8. So that's a range, quite a big range for this one, because we're at the very far end of the range. You see what I mean? If we was looking at summers following Aprils with a CET in the 7s, for example, we would have to have a much narrower range because there'd be a lot of them. But there aren't that many really, really warm Aprils. So we're going to go through those Aprils right now and the summers that follow them. So starting off with the summer of 1840, very long time ago. This follows an April CET range of 9.5 to 11.8. And the summer of 1840 is a very unsettled summer following that warm April. It has low pressure sitting over and to the east of the country, and it's pulling down pretty cold north to northeasterly winds as well. Our next summer is 1844, again following CET range of 9.5 to 11.8. This one, very, very unsettled, deep area of low pressure over the top of the country. It's part of the top of the country, has northern blocking as well. So that's another bad summer in 1844. The next one is going to be the summer of 1865. And this is it. Again, it's another quite unsettled looking summer with below average heights across the west of Europe and higher pressure up towards Greenland. And that leaves us bringing in the winds from a northeasterly direction. It's probably not quite as unsettled as the previous two, but it can't be anything other than a poor summer, that one. And now this is a better one. This is the summer of 1869. Again, remember, we're following the summers following the warmest Aprils on record, the CT range of 9.5 to 11.8. This one has more an anticyclonic influence. The high pressure actually is sitting over and just to the west of the country, trough of low pressure across eastern parts of Europe. But it's sort of a warmer, drier type summer. It's overshadowed by the summer before it, which was a very hot summer in 1868. But in its own terms, it's not a bad summer at all. Reasonably warm and dry summer in 1869. The next one is 1874. This one, again, with below average heights to the north and above average heights down to our south. This just looks like a rather averagey sort of summer. Neither one thing or another, really, in 1874. The summer of 1893 shows up next, with above average heights to the north, below average heights to the south. I think we bring quite a lot of warm air and hot air from the east or southeast, so it doesn't look like a particularly good pattern map, but actually the summer of 1893 isn't too bad at all. Quite a long gap then through to the summer of 1914. So the summer of 1914 is very unsettled to our south, and it has high pressure up to the north. We bring in easterly winds. It's a warm summer, and it's also a thundery summer with winds coming up from the south. So there's quite a bit of thunder around in this summer. Heavy showers, thunderstorms. It's an unsettled summer, but it is quite a warm summer as well. I'm in another long gap through to 1943. It's very interesting what happens now. So from 1914 to 1943, there's not an April with a CET from 9.5 to 11.8. So there's not an April from 1914 to 1943. That is one of the warmest Aprils on record. But we get to the year of 1943. And we see the summer of 1943 is very unsettled, with low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. It's rather a westerly summer, and it's just rather mixed summer in 1943. Now look at the next one, 1944, and this one, again, it has below average heights to our south. Higher pressure looks like it's up to the north. It just looks like a rather mixed summer as well. It's not desperately unsettled, but it is a little bit on the mixed side. Now look at the next one, 1945. Remember, these are all Aprils with CETs between 9.5 and 11.8. So we've gone from 1914 to 1943 without an April CET of 9.5 to 11.8. Now we have got to 1943, 1944, and the next one is 1945. Can you believe? So a really strange run of very warm Aprils through the 1940s. And I tell you, we're not done with those yet, actually. So this one, 1945, again, quite an unsettled summer, but this is a warm summer, and I think it's particularly warm through the early part of the summer. Now look at the next one. We've got 1946. What a bizarre run of very warm Aprils from 1943 to 1946. This one is a bad summer. This one has lots of below average heights over to the west of the country, and we bring in these westerly winds. So it's a cool and a wet and a very unsettled summer in 1946. And have we done the 1940s yet? No, we haven't. Here we go again. 1949. This one is a hot summer, actually. It's a very good summer. Very extended as well. Starts in the spring. It's still going on in September. It has above average heights sitting over the UK. Below average heights out to west and to our northeast. There's a lot of hot weather through this summer. Plenty of hot and dry conditions in 1949. So what a bizarre run of warm Aprils through the 1940s. What a decade for warm Aprils the 1940s were. But except for 1949, generally the summers that followed those Aprils through the 1940s weren't much to write home about. Next up, we have 1952, which of course only a couple of years after 49. So I suppose the run that started with 1943, I should say, is still going on, really, even into 1952. This one's quite a cool and unsettled summer, with below average heights to our east and above average heights to the west. Winds are sort of in from the north. So this is a cool and unsettled summer in 1952. Next, we've got 1961, again, below average heights to the north, above average heights to the west-southwest. Winds are in from the west. That's quite an unsettled summer too in 1961. That's quite an unsettled summer. A long gap then through to 1987. So isn't this strange? We have so many warm Aprils, or very warm Aprils in the 1940s, and then after 1961 we don't get another one until 1987, and the summer of 1987 is also pretty mixed. It has below average heights generally to our east, above average heights as a mid-Atlantic ridge to our west. Winds are in from the north. It's a cool and unsettled summer. Very poor summer in 1987. There's a string of bad summers, starting with 1985 and going through to 1988, and 1987 is the third in sort of the four summer run of bad summers. Another pretty long gap then to 2003. So our next summer, following an April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8, is the summer of 2003. And obviously this is a classic hot summer. It has above average heights centering over and to the east of the country, quite a deep trough of low pressure in the Atlantic, and winds are regularly pumping up from the south. So it's a summer of regular heat waves, very hot spells, and particularly hot during the latter part of July and the first couple of weeks of August, when it does turn exceptionally hot. And for quite a few years we have our hottest day on record on the 10th of August 2003. Now, the second warmest April on CT record is 2007. It's the first time within the CT series that we get into the 11s as well during April 2007. The summer of 2007, we've been talking about it a lot in our updates, both for spring and for summer, is unsettled. It has the below average heights over the UK, above average heights up towards Greenland, and it's just a very, very wet summer indeed. It's a washout summer, severe flooding, and it's a very, very bad summer indeed in 2007. Somebody asked me once why the reanalysis for the summer of 2007 doesn't look dramatically bad, why this trough of low pressure isn't a lot deeper. The reason is that things do pick up a little bit in August. Remember, this is an anomaly from June to August. Things get a little bit better in August of 2007. It's nothing to write home about, but it's not as phenomenally wet, and it's not as bad in August 2007. If we was to look, and I'd probably show you this at some point, if we was to look at an anomaly for May to July 2007, you would see this trough of low pressure looking a lot deeper. Anyway, the summer of 2007 is within our analogues package. And next up, we've got 2009, again, following an April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8. The summer of 2009 is the infamous barbecue summer, when the UK Met promised us a barbecue summer. It went a little bit awry, that forecast. It's a rather mixed summer, but to be honest, it does have its moments. So it has a very bad July. There's no getting away from that. July 2009 is cool and wet, but June 2009 isn't bad. There's quite a nice hot spell at the end of June, and August 2009 really isn't a bad month either. So overall, it's not too bad a summer. It's just that we was promised a barbecue summer, and it didn't quite come off. The warmest April on record with a CT of 11.8 is April 2011, and the summer of 2011, again, it's another bad one. It has quite a lot of northern blocking within the northern latitudes. It has a trough of low pressure over the top of the country. It's a cool and unsettled summer in 2011. It's not a washout like 2007 is. It's not a washout of the summer, but it is often very cool, mixed, and it's just not a particularly good summer at all. Then we've got 2014, again following this April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8. Summer of 2014 looks like that. Quite a lot of northern blocking and a trough of low pressure to our south this time. It's a funny summer. It has a very warm July with a CT in the 17s. And it has the coldest August since 1993. So it's a very bizarre summer in 2014. And then finally, and this sends things on a pretty decent note, doesn't it? We've got 2018, and of course this is a proper hot summer with above average heights extending from the Atlantic into the UK and up into Northern Europe. The polar vortex, low pressure, is pushed away to the north. It's just a really, really hot June and July. Does go a little bit down the pan in August. We couldn't sustain the heat into August, unfortunately, and as we see quite often in these days, the fine weather doesn't last to August, but June and particularly July 2018 are really warm and dry. So let's put all of that together then, and this is how all Junes combined are coming out following an April CT of 9.5 to 11.8, and overall it is an unsettled signal. So you have below average heights over the UK covering northern parts of Europe, blocking over the Arctic. Jet stream is pushed southwards a bit, so it's an unsettled and rather cool summer, rather cool signal for June, following an April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8. All Julys combined, again following the warmest Aprils on record, gets even more unsettled because the trough of low pressure, if anything, deepens over UK and Western Europe. We still have the blocking up to the north, so obviously again favouring very unsettled and cool conditions with all Julys combined. All August combined rounded all off really with, again, below average heights covering northern parts of Europe and the jet stream pushed southwards. So again, this is nothing more than an overall unsettled signal for the summer. But bear in mind, there are exceptions like 2018, like 1949. So it's a low probability that we come away with a hot summer following a very warm April, but it can't be completely discounted. The possibility can't be completely discounted. Putting all summers together, this is how things are looking. All summers combined tend to have below average heights centred over the UK and western parts of Europe. Blocking is up to the north, jet streams push southwards. So rather cool and unsettled signals for the summer overall, you have to say. If we narrow things down just a little bit and exclude the years before 1950, this is how it comes out. So this is April's with a CT from 9.5 to 11.8. Post 1950, all Junes combined. So this is how we look. It's not quite as unsettled a signal for June. We have below average heights to our west, some above average heights across central parts of Europe, still some northern blocking. If you sort of take out the years before 1950, it looks like June has a better chance of being a little bit drier and warmer, really. However, the same isn't true for July. This is all Julys combined, following an April CT of 9.5 to 11.8 post-1950. And all Julys are very unsettled with a trough of below average heights over much of Western Europe. High pressure is blocking to the north. Those Julys overall do look cool and wet. And August doesn't look much better either. This is all August combined, following an April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8 post-1950. And again, deep trough of low pressure, blocking towards Greenland, jet stream pushed southwards. A cool and unsettled signal overall, following those Aprils for all August combined. Putting the summers together, so this is how all summers combined are looking for an April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8 post-1950, and overall a trough of low pressure over the UK and Northern Europe, blocking up to the north. Generally, it's quite a cool and unsettled signal. There are exceptions, as we've already explained. We've got 2003 in the mix. We've got 2018 in the mix. Of course, we have July 2014 in the mix as well. So it's not a continuous, it's not a guaranteed, very unsettled summer signal. But overall, that's clearly the way these summers are favoured, really. So that's how all summers are looking when we have this April CT range of 9.5 to 11.8, but warmest April on record. There is one more thing I can show you though, and this was suggested by a good friend, Richard Shaw. So before we sign off, we'll just have a look at this. So we come back to the CT page at UK Met. Big thank you to Hadley for supplying the CT for us, of course. So we've got April's CT here at 10.4. We have a March CT at 6.7. So what Richard, our good friend Richard Short, suggested is that we could also look at March's and have a CT in the 6s, and then April's 3 degrees or more warmer than those Marches, if you see what I mean. So it's March equals 6 degrees plus CT, and then April equals 3 degrees or more above the March CET. So let's see what that gives us, and we come back to reanalysis. So there's going to be quite a lot of overlap here. The first one is 1874, where you have a March CT of 6 degrees or more and April 3 degrees warmer. The first summer is 1874, below average heights up to the north, jet stream up there, a little bit of higher pressure down there. It looks like a very averagey sort of summer, that one. Next one is 1893, so I say quite a bit of overlap here. Above average heights to the north, below average heights to the west and to the south. Jet stream is pushed southwards as well, but we do bring in quite a lot of hot air actually through the summer of 1893. It's not as bad a summer as you might think from a reanalysis. 1914 is the next one that does this March CT of 6 degrees and April 3 degrees warmer. So this one with below average heights to our south, above average heights to our northeast, and we bring in sort of hot east southeast winds. It's a very warm but also very volatile summer. This is a new one, 1926, again with the March CT of 6 degrees or more, and April 3 degrees warmer. So this one has below average heights to our west, above average heights to the northeast and to the southwest. It's a very strange looking pattern, but overall it's quite a coolish and unsettled summer in 1926. Then we're back to 1943. This one again quite unsettled, as we've already explained, bringing the winds from off the Atlantic Ocean. Got 1952 as well, with a trough of below average heights to the east, a ridge of above average heights to the west. Winds are in from the north. That's a cool and unsettled summer. 2007, long gap then from 1952 to 2007. Summer of 2007, as we've explained, it's a washout summer with a trough of low pressure over UK and blocking to the north. And then we've also got 2009 with below average heights coming in from off the Atlantic. That's unsettled summer, but not as bad probably as you might think from the reanalysis. And then lastly, again, we've got 2011, which of course March CT 6 degrees and April CT 3 degrees or more warmer. And the summer of 2011, again, it's unsettled, it's mixed, below average heights over top of the country, blocking up to the north, cool and unsettled. Putting all of that together is how all Junes combined are looking, following a March CT of 6 degrees and an April CT 3 degrees warmer. Blocking to the north, some higher pressure with the Junes to the north, below average heights to the south. Looks rather mixed for those Junes. July deteriorates, very much in line with what we've seen within the rest of the reanalysis, really. July deteriorates, below average heights setting up over the top of the UK. High pressure up to the north. All August combined look like that. Again, quite unsettled. Below average heights coming through from off the Atlantic. Maybe not quite as bad for the August compared to the earlier analogues, but still rather mixed and unsettled. And then lastly, this is how all summers combined are looking following a March CT in the 6s, and April 3 degrees warmer. And yes, it rounds it all off really with an unsettled signal below average heights over UK into the Atlantic. High pressure up towards Greenland, blocking up there. Also have a cool and unsettled summer with those summers following a March CT in the 6s and April 3 degrees warmer. So whichever sort of analog package we take, and I suppose the best thing to do is put it all together really, and putting it all together, it certainly looks as though these warmest Aprils on record are definitely favouring a relatively poor summer, but not a guarantee. There are several exceptions within the analogues package, so it's a low probability that we can't rule out the probability and the possibility that the summer of 2020 could actually turn out to be a very good summer, could even turn out to be a classic hot summer, as we saw in 2018. We can't rule out the possibility that that could happen, but overall, these analogues, these warmest Aprils on record, overall they're definitely favouring hotter summer, cooler, wetter summers. Right, so that's it then, and I hope you found the video interesting for you. A lot of people have asked me about this over the past few weeks as we've had such a warm April, so I think that's pretty definitive. I think that sets the record straight and tells you everything you need to know. Next week we'll look at precipitation data. I will think we'll be looking at the driest Aprils on record as well, because their stats aren't in yet, but I'm sure April 2020 has not only been one of the warmest Aprils on record, it's probably been the driest April on record, or one of them anyway. So I'm sure next week we'll be looking at the summers that follow the driest Aprils on record. And I suspect, again, there'll be quite a bit of overlap with the years that we've seen this week, but we shall see. And that's the 8th update next week, of course. After that, we really are getting towards the business end of the summer updates. Things are going to get very serious then, and we're going to start thinking about summer forecast that's going to be released on the 31st of May. Right, this video will be placed on the summer updates and forecast page. There'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. I'll get that up for you this evening. Probably quite late because I've got live stream to do. Got GWV Sunday Roundup coming up after lunch, and then as I say, I'm going to be streaming and between 5 and 6 o'clock I'm going to be streaming and checking in and see how we're all doing within the GWV community during the coronavirus crisis. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.